Good morning, folks. The real Captain Kirk here, live from Weather Trends 360 studio here in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. It is Monday morning, the 15th of April, tax day. I have been advised by fans, put on notice here to stop saying that four-letter word, that S word. Spock reminds me that talking about snow in April is totally illogical, and I need to stop saying it immediately. So on that note, let's quickly stop talking about it. But real quick here this morning, U.S. snow cover is pretty epic. 18% of us still have snow on the ground with that big storm, near record blizzard that went through the Dakotas, Minnesota, Wisconsin last week, and then another little secondary pulse that went through the Chicago area. So again, this time last year we had quite a bit more snow, 25%, which was the most in decades. Average this time of year is only about 12%. If we look at the season-to-date snowfall real quick here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 feet of snow as we go through the Midwest into the plains. A whopping 14 feet up in the Maine area there. Caribou's off the charts with 164.7 inches of snow. Average is only about 104 points. I say only 104.7 inches. They're laughing at us in the west, where they measure snow in feet. Outside Lake Tahoe, up in the mountains, 56 feet of snow. So again, our inches of snow is child's play for the folks out west. So God bless them. Not sure how they can handle that much snow. If we look at this week for the U.S. overall, for this third week of April, 15 through 21 April, warmer than last year, actually quite a bit warmer than last year, 11th warmest in 30 years. Recall last year was the coldest in over 30 years, so it was pretty epically cold last year. Only thing epic here this week is wettest in 30 years. Just cannot shake this wet pattern, and probably won't until we get into the latter half of summer. Last year was the second snowiest in 30 years. So again, last year was just epically cold. Again, coldest in 30, second snowiest in 30s. So really, really cold and snowy last year. So at least we can talk warm and wet this year for this week. Jumping ahead to next week, the last full week of April here, 22 through 28th. Warmest in 10 years, almost the entire country with pretty much above average temperatures, other than, say, maybe Seattle. So again, warmest in 10 years, third warmest in 30 years for the nation as a whole. Last year was the coolest in 3 for this last week of April. This year is the wettest in 8 years. Again, second wettest in 30 years with this conveyor belt of moisture from Texas into the east. So again, just can't shake the wet pattern here. Last year was the least snow in 8 years, and this year will be similar. Least snow in probably 9 years due to the warm and wet general conditions. If we animate these maps across the world here, we can see, again, much above average temperatures across the U.S. and even Canada. Europe makes a little bit of a flip-flop where it goes from cold in Eastern Europe to warm in Eastern Europe, and then again, same flip-flop in the West, warm in Western Europe to cold by the end of the period. So again, a little flip-flop in the East, but much of the world here is on the warm side for the next couple weeks. Looking at these storms in motion here, again, just can't shake the stormy pattern here for the eastern half of the country, again, with several systems here going through even into the Easter weekend. So again, more severe weather probably with these systems as we go through the next couple weeks. Had a pretty severe outbreak this past week. Again, probably for the next couple weeks. If we look at Easter weekend as a whole here, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 19 through 21 April. Again, several weeks later than last year, but much warmer than last year for Easter. Third warmest Easter holiday here in 30 years. So really, really warm. Say other than the southeast, where it's actually on the cool side, but again, a lot of that's due to rainfall. This year, unfortunately, wet. Third wettest in 30 years. Again, with that conveyor belt of moisture here for the eastern quarter of the country here. Again, last year, though, we can't complain. Last year was the second coldest Easter in 30 years and second snowiest in 30 years for the country as a whole. So really, really cold and snowy last year. So this year, we're going to say it's kind of on the warm, wet side, at least if you're in the Northeast. And again, best spots is probably actually out in the plains. They're going to need that warm weather to melt all that snow. I just got a poke in my ear here saying, hey, Captain, you just said it like 9 more times. So I got to stop saying that snow word here. For folks here in Eastern PA, we were actually on 107.5 Alive this morning, radio, Positively Different with John Yost, talking about what we do here at Weather Trends, how I became a Christian, and actually, we've even been asked to be on ESPN's Faith on the Field show here on ESPN610. So I was kind of honored with that. They get some pretty big-name guests, Tim Tebow and Carson Wentz and Coach Tony Dungy and Kirk Cousins, a pretty good quarterback. So not sure why they want me on there because I'm not overly athletic these days. I did play some high school football in the day on the practice squad. I remember we were outside, when the Redskins won in the 80s, all their Super Bowl years. We had a play called Counter Tray 50 Gut, and basically the guard and the tackle would pull. It was kind of the Redskins' famous hog move. And I remember during practice one day, I knocked our huge, he was at least 300 pounds, he was like a hog, tackle, and knocked him silly, just blindsided him by dumb luck. I don't weigh anywhere near 300 pounds. The rest of the game and practice, he pretty much tried to squish me like a bug and was pretty successful at it. So that's my only claim to sports here. But again, we'll let you know when we're going to be on the show, ESPN 610 Radio. With that, folks, we hope you have a great week, and we will be back here this time next week.